Hi everyone, welcome to the next short attention span webinar. And last week, Kelly, we talked about salespeople, right? Great sales traits.
Yep.
I forgot to tell you this before we started. I actually got emails from people who were frightened about the fact that there were Bill Farquharsons growing in jars in your basement.
You actually forwarded me one of those. That was making me laugh so hard. I loved it.
I think that was Sandy. I thought that was hysterical. Way to go, Sandy. So now that we've got the salesmen in the jars, let's take some sales managers and talk about them. What we want to?
All one of them out there.
All one of them. Come on. There's a few left, and they're all very good. All right, so Kelly, first and foremost, supportive, inspiring. Did you ever have a supportive, inspiring sales manager?
I did. I have. I've been lucky in my life to have, I think, 2 supportive and inspiring sales managers. And one was actually my first retail job out of college. I was in management for a retail company, and I kind of like to say she taught me everything I know about standards, and again, just really set a good example for me, which is kind of poaching on the next trait. But and my last actual real boss before I retired and started my own business was extremely supportive, very empathetic, and also told a lot of great stories about what success could look like. So I was very, very inspired by him.
Okay, all right. Well, when I worked years ago, when I worked for UARCO, I had 2 managers. One of them, I think, really was very supportive and inspiring, and one of them really wasn't. So I guess I had a 50% success ratio. But that's our first and important trait, because really, more can be done with you can do it. A lot of the coaching calls that I have with clients, and Kelly, you and I have talked about this, really are more about cheerleading than they are about technique. As a matter of fact, I had a drink last night with a woman who is she does a lot of things under her belt, but we were talking about doing a webinar all about not sales skills, but more, driving that inner, you can do this. When I was trying to convince her, she said, let's hypnotize them. And I said, well, how about this? Let's just inspire them. So it's fascinating to have that conversation, and more, that message has got to be out there to support and inspire. Number 2, Kelly, leading by example. Tell me about that one.
Well, again, that can be everything from, getting in early in the morning and deciding that, wow, he comes in early in the morning, so I'm going to come in early, and if he's willing to do it, then I'm willing to do it. I always think about, the fact that when I was a manager, and if I was willing to, stay late to help collate a job to get it out, that should send a good message to, the people that I worked with, that I wasn't above anything, and there wasn't anything I wasn't willing to do. And it has everything to do with your language, the way you carry yourself, everything about, again, being somebody that someone would aspire to be like. I think that's what makes a great manager. So I think that's a pretty obvious one.
Someday I'm going to introduce you to Lisa Arsenault down at McCardle Printing. Talk about lead by example. Runs the company, #1 salesperson, go, unbelievable. You know what? She is my picture of lead by example, because good luck if you can keep up with her. It's amazing. Third is challenging, and what I meant by this one, Kelly, was challenges you. Sometimes punches you in the nose.
Right.
Sometimes holds your nose down into what you've done, like like a child, like an animal, like that. Look what you did, and sometimes really pisses you off.
Yes.
And yet, when you back off and you give a chance to reflect, you realize that they've laid down a challenge. It's like they're good cop, bad cop, all in one person.
Well, but I think the important thing to remember about this one is that there's a respectful way to do that and a disrespectful way to do that. Because I've had bosses, where I put a proposal in front of them, and they'll kind of bark at me like, "Did you read this? You didn't even put this in there." And it uncovered something that was a deficit in my knowledge, but I really would have appreciated a response saying something like, "Maybe you're not familiar with how we put ROI studies into these proposals, but ... Instead of making me feel stupid, So again, I think challenging is without question very important because we all want to do better and we all want to reach, but it should be done with respect.
You know, at 6'6", a lot of people say, "Did you play basketball?" And I did not. I did not because exactly what you said. The basketball coach at East Longmeadow High School in Massachusetts was a jerk, but the swimming coach was amazing, and he was. Yeah, his name was Dick Bowles. He was incredible. He was challenging us to be better. And it's a long story. It's probably a whole webinar on challenging. But he really had a way of making you want to aim higher and showing you this is how you get there. And you know what? Without that, what do they say? A good salesman can tell you to go to hell and make you feel good about going there. You know, that's
and the Irish.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. All right, visionary. You touched on this earlier when we were talking. You know, a sales manager who is a visionary. What kind of vision are they putting forward, Kelly?
Well, I would see it as having a very clear picture of where they want you to, where you go together. So it's about setting goals, and it's really again about that visualization, like painting a picture for you so that you can actually see it. So they help you again set goals that aren't just about the revenue and the commissions, but what that actually means. Like how do you translate that into what those results mean? So yes, we want you to make a lot of money, but let's be clear about the fact that that's because you're going to enjoy this quality of life, or you have this car you want to buy, or things like that. I mean, it's really about big picture, you know, envisioning what success looks like and the strategy behind it to get you there.
And I think the other aspect of that ties into the first point, which was supportive of inspiring. It doesn't cost anything to say, you know what, Kelly, I've got a vision for you. This is where I see you in 3 years. You know, that's a supportive vision. You know, because you're saying, hey, we're investing money in you. We're investing training in you. We wouldn't do that if we didn't think we saw something in you. What was the cost of that statement? Zero.
Yeah, nothing.
Exactly. And yet it doesn't happen as often as it should. The last one is consistent. Now, I know what I meant by this thing, and this was basically, you know, stay in the lives of your salespeople. Because typically what happens is a manager will, it's kind of like a newsletter. You know, you put one newsletter together, you never do it again. Sales managers need to be consistent in their feedback, consistent in their input, consistent in the meetings. But that doesn't happen. Why is that, Kelly? What happens?
Well, you know, it can be dictated by the conditions in the company if sales are down. And I think my take on consistency is it's really about being even keeled and not panicking and not, you know, allowing the owner or the manager, you know, to put these dictates on people that inspire fear instead of saying, hey, look, things are a little rough right now, but we're going to get through it, and here's how. You know, so again, I feel like these 5 things are very mutually dependent on one another, because if you're consistent and you have this great vision, you know, they really are all very necessary. But, you know, again, to me, consistency is, you know, there's no volatility in that temper. You're not going to get yelled at or screamed at because you made a mistake, but somebody who keeps a level head and is very even-keeled and very reasonable and, again, respectful and fair.
And what is the result of all of these traits, Kelly?
Well, you know, again, we talked about this a little bit ago. I think all of the results of this are that we aspire to greatness. You know, we really want to perform and we want to succeed, not just for ourselves and for the spoils, you know, for all of the things that we know we're going to get, but because we're inspired by this person and because this person leads by such a great example and challenges us, we feel inspired to make them look good and to make a great performance.
All right. Excellent. Well, there you go. Last week we did sales. This week we did managers. And now you've got what you are targeting for. Kelly, thanks very much.
Thanks, Bill.
We will talk to you all on next week's Short Attention Span webinar. Take care, everybody.